Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Jerry Jones was doing an interview with Clarence Hill of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, longtime Dallas Cowboys beat writer. And Clarence Jones brought up Sean Payton. And the issue of Payton, of course, because when Sean Payton left the New Orleans Saints, there was a whole lot of chatter that Sean Payton was going to end up in Dallas. Of course, as we learned, it was actually the Miami Dolphins that were putting together some type of a package for Sean Payton. The Brian Flores situation transpired, and all of that sort of went kaput. It's also worth noting that the Saints did not allow Miami to interview Sean Payton. So it went nowhere, but apparently the Dolphins were the ones that were making a push. But Jerry Jones was asked about Sean Payton and the possibility there by Clarence Hill, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Here's what Jerry Jones said, and I quote, "Sean Payton shouldn't be out there. For him, the Cowboys, that's just sheer out of the air. It's well known we're good friends, and we think a lot of him as a head coach. But in this case, asking the way you're asking, he shouldn't be a conversation piece." I'll remind you to keep the receipts here, because this does remind me a lot of Nick Saban when he said he's not going to be the coach at Alabama and ended up being the coach at Alabama. Jerry Jones, at this moment, can say all he wants about Sean Payton and how he's not going to be the coach and shouldn't be a conversation piece. But invariably, he's going to be a conversation piece until he's no longer worthy of being a conversation piece. If Mike McCarthy keeps his job, or if Sean Payton is ultimately hired, or whatever the case may be. But you got to keep that receipt with Jerry Jones talking about Sean Payton, because it remains an undeniable possibility. I want to remind you of this, and Dallas is fascinating, because you obviously have a healthy Dak Prescott now, and we'll see after the disappointment of last year. Well, really, the disappointment of the last 20 years. 25 years? Yeah, thereabouts. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys head coach lineage, and Mike McCarthy's entering year 3. Of course, the first year was the COVID year, so you kind of punt that one a little bit. But after Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson became the second coach of the Cowboys and was there for 5 years. Of course, won a couple of Super Bowls and set the stage for Barry Switzer, who was there for 4 years, won a Super Bowl. After Barry Switzer was Chan Gailey for 2 years. Again, these are all, again, under Jerry Jones, remember? Chan Gailey for 2 years, Dave Campo for 3 years, Bill Parcells for 4 years, Wade Phillips for 4 years. The outlier was Jason Garrett, who was the head coach for 10 years. Like, Jerry gave Jason Garrett, because the rep that Jerry had developed was he doesn't give these guys time. He's going to pull the trigger quickly. He hires yes men and people he's friendly with, or people he thinks he can control, like a Dave Campo, a Chan Gailey, and then pulls the trigger very quickly. Well, he gave Jason Garrett tons of runway, gave him a decade before ultimately he was fired. And now you've got Mike McCarthy in there, who's entering year 3. So when you look at the history there, and you look at a guy like Chan Gailey, who was there for 2 years, and Dave Campo for 3 years, and mentioned Switzer and Parcells and Phillips were all there for 4 years. Like, you're right there in that territory of where Jerry might pull the plug. Like, if this year doesn't go well for Dallas, especially in that division, the NFC East, where, is Jalen Hurts and the Eagles really the class of that division? Maybe. Like, you could make a strong case. And if that's the case, and you got Dak Prescott, a quarterback you're paying 9 figures to, and you can't win that division, maybe it is time. And if Sean Payton's available, you fire Mike McCarthy, you bring in Sean Payton. I think we all agree that's a very real possibility of something that could and maybe will happen after this season. And if you're a Saints fan, you might actually be kind of pulling for it. As much as it would suck, as much as you would rather Sean Payton be in the AFC when he comes back to coaching, so you never have to see him unless if it's in a Super Bowl, meaning in the playoffs. If you're a Saints fan at this point, you realize Sean's never coming back, and you'd almost rather him get back in sooner than later, and you recoup draft capital or whatever it may be from Dallas or whomever when he coaches again. So keep the receipts on Jerry. who told Clarence Hill in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram that Sean Payton should not be a conversation piece with the Dallas Cowboys, but he's always going to be a conversation piece until Sean Payton ends up coaching somewhere else or ends up coaching in Dallas. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.